Thanks.
Moved by Bob or Robert?
Rob's fine.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the Economic Development Committee for St. John to order, and please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Margaret, could you do a roll call, please?
Joseph Barry,
Here.
Carl Madsen,
Present.
Erica Hill,
Here.
Adam Robertson is not with us as yet, Rob Godoy,
Present.
Joey Laxalinas,
Here.
Kelly Stoming,
Here.
John D. Young.
Here. Thank you. Tonight I'd like to, since this is a brand-new committee for a lot of you, I'd like to start at the end there, and if you can, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and then also to everyone here, welcome to the committee. So go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Joe Barry. Moved to St. John here about 4 years ago from Illinois. I'm semi-retired. I work part-time, but I delivered mail for the post office for 34 years. And now I just do part-time. I deliver car parts is what I do. And my experiences was I lived in the town of Glenwood, Illinois, and I was an elected trustee for 2 terms, and I served on the Plan Commission and the Zoning Board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carl Madsen. I've been in St. John for about 6 years now, and grew up in the area, lived all over the country, and had a couple overseas things. But back in the area now, our business is called Optine Group. What we do is we do management and supply chain advisory, turnaround, general business improvement, small, large, from a couple million to $1 billion. The reason I got involved in the EDC is that I think St. John's a great place to work and live, and I wanted to do what I could to help move the town in the direction that the town council is trying to move us. I agree with their positions.
Thank you. Erica.
My name is Erica Hill. I am the owner of Wanderlux Boutique. I have an online boutique, which I've had for 4 years, almost 4 years. I've actually lived in St. John for a year. We built a house here. But since moving here, I've gotten involved, with the town and excited to be here. I've owned other businesses before this. And I'm just excited to help support, local small businesses.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm Robert Godoy. I've been in town, St. John, here for about 11 years, multiple years prior to that in Cherville. Currently, I work with Fairpoint Capital Management. We deal with mutual funds and have mutual fund offerings in the market, previous to which I worked for Bank of America, where I managed multiple large and medium and small business accounts. I worked on closing deals with small firms, and I worked on issuing debt with firms as large as Whirlpool and Mondelez. So I know a lot of needs of medium and small businesses. I know what they look for when they close deals. I did that for around 10 years also.
Very good. Kelly.
I'm Kelly Stoming. I am a lifelong resident, so I'll just say over 40 years I've been living here. I also work for People's Bank, so we have 22 locations, Lake and Porter County, South Cook County, and an office here in St. John. And I've been fortunate enough to serve on the EDC since we started, which I think was 2012.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
My name is Joey Laxalinas. I've been living in the town of St. John for about just going on 8 years. I'm originally from Hammond, so I'm a lifelong region rat, so I'm happy to be here. One of the reasons why I'm getting myself involved with boards and just with St. John is I have a 15-month at home, so that's I'm inspired to do more for my community and do things that are going to affect him as he gets older. As far as what I do, I'm kind of an entrepreneur. I do a lot of different things. I'm a photographer and a video producer. Most of what I do is in the creative realm, a lot of marketing. I own my own business. One of them actually just started this year where I do marketing for auto dealerships. So if you happen to know a dealer out there that needs somebody. But aside from that, I'm also, like I said, I'm a photographer. I've actually, over the last 10 years, I've amassed the largest collection of Northwest Indiana photos. So anybody in Northwest Indiana, and that's anybody that falls in a town that falls into the central time zone, so a 6-county area. If they need a picture of downtown Couts, Indiana, Valparaiso, aerials, anything like that, I'm generally the person that they come to for licensing for stock photos. That's actually one of mine right there on the St. John is open for business cover. So that's pretty much what I do, and I'm looking to bring those skills to the board.
Thank you very much. And my name is John DeYoung. I have a business here in town, DeYoung Interiors. I've lived here for 20 years with my 2 sons and my wife, and I got involved in EDC from its inception, and been on this committee, and it's been a lot of fun. So we've had some hurdles in the past years, and we're glad to have new members, and I'm glad to have the input of the board here tonight, too. So that's very good. So thank you very much for everybody introducing yourself, and welcome to our committee. Next thing on our agenda here is election of officers. And we usually vote for president and vice president. So if you want to elect yourself, you may do that. If you want to elect one of us that have been on the board before, you can do that also. So the floor is open here for nominations.
Mr. Chairman, for this meeting, just for those who are not familiar with boards, nominations do not require seconds like motions. So once you make a nomination, it does not have to be seconded, and a number of nominations can be made before the vote is called for.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate John DeYoung as president.
Any discussion here? Any other? No? All right. I think we'll call for a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now we have election for vice president. And I'd like to nominate Kelly, if she wants it.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody else? Everybody good with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed, so thank you very much. We had, now a lot of you did not get the minutes up until just recently, but Kelly and I have served on this board, and I've read the minutes thoroughly, and so I have gone over them. They seem to be all correct and intact, so if there's any motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second. It's Carl.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay. New business that we have here, and well, I'm going to kind of ramble on a little bit to kind of get most of you guys up to speed. Our building planning director is Mr. Rick Eberly. He usually is here with us, and we usually have our town manager, but I believe that he's going to be nominated or voted in tonight with the blessing of these 2 gentlemen over here on our left. So we're glad to have him on board, and our town manager will be at our meetings going forward. That is our link to a lot of information that is coming to us on a daily basis. If we have anything that the committee comes up with, then you should advise us, and then we turn it over to Mr. Blazak. Mr. Blazak is our liaison between the town council and this committee. We always run things by the town council first to make sure that we're all on the same page, because we don't want to go off in different directions that, and you folks may have a lot of people coming at you now that you're on this committee. Hey, what about this? What about that? Let's always make sure that we use a little bit of caution and check with our representative from the town council first before we proceed. And we usually like to have discussion on some of those things, and then we present it to the council. So that's one thing. You did get a handout from me, and the very first things that I highlighted is what this Economic Development Committee is about. So I'll read this to you. It's, we serve in an advisory capacity for the town council and various boards and commissions to serve as a resource to explore new economic development ideas and projects for St. John. So if you kind of keep that in mind, and then on the second page behind that, I put some projects that we have already scheduled on the sheet, and it's resurfacing of a lot of the roads. A lot of these things are on our webpage, so you'll be able to, you'll be able to pick up a lot of those things that are coming into town and what's happening by the moment from our webpage. So please visit that when you're able to do that. We have done quite a few things on this committee that I think has benefited. One benefited St. John. One of them is working on St. John, Indiana is open for business. This is a brochure, and I believe, Margaret, we still have quite a few of these in the office, don't we?
Yes, probably.
Yeah, if you can, that would be great, and then I'd like to have a few extras that the committee members could pass out if they're ever talking to somebody, but I would like you to get that, so thank you on that. This is an informational brochure that we came up with from our committee to help promote St. John, and it really talks about how great the schools are, and the businesses are, and the churches are, and the shopping, and the opportunities that are here. And then over the last number of years, we've done a study from this committee. It's called a Metro Study. And on this Metro Study, it identified a lot of, and you have a book there in front of you there, I hope. That's great, Carl?
Yeah, I've got a copy.
Okay, good. And what it has done is identified what the retail gap is in the community. So over the next, well, if you take a 5-mile radius, thank you, Margaret. I'll take a couple more too. Over the next number of years, you're going to find that the retail development is underserved by about 280 million, according to what our survey says. So we've done some very, very good informational things, and like the Open for Business here in St. John, great tool to have. So if you're out talking, if you guys are with people that want to develop, the town certainly wants to sit down and start with our town manager, and then go to Mr. Eberly, and then that process kind of goes to the town council then from there. So just so you kind of are aware of what those things are. We have a project that Kelly and I have worked on since its inception, is our Boyer project. It's the shops on 96th. So that project is up here across from the Kmart. We have lights now, which is great, so we're starting to see some positive results there. And I believe from the information I have that we're going to have about 162,000 square feet of retail space available. So that's a wonderful addition for the town. It's going to bring a lot of people to the community. We're going to have restaurants and shopping and plenty of parking there. And I think the footprint, the floor plan of what they're doing there, it seems to be in line with what the developer wanted to do originally. There's projects that have been approved in town, such as Culver's will be in the Target parking lot. We have another development that is coming just north of the Shrine. It'll be a shopping mall at some point. We're probably a year and a half out. You can see they're moving some dirt now, but that's going to be quite a big shopping center. That's what's planned at the moment. We have off of 93rd, we have the Continental subdivision, which are very high-end luxury estate lots. So there's a lot of great things happening in the community. This committee is very important because we have to nurture all those things. So if we're bringing 162,000 square feet of retail space to town, we have to try to nurture that and try to get as many leads as we can. Now, for the shops on 96th, I was able to introduce the developer to some people that wanted to do some restaurants. All we can do is try to make an introduction. We're not realtors, we're not developers, we're just we're an arm of what the town council wants us to do, and we just try to have an introduction or a meeting so the possible retail space can speak with the developer. Mr. Eberly in the office or the town council members have phone numbers and all that on things that are happening. It's very important, though, to run things by the town council so we're all on the same page. So as far as that goes, there has been a lot happening in our community. A lot of great things are coming down the pipe. We've worked on the 231 corridor. I think, Kelly, that we worked on that, the land use. And our last meeting, the previous town board approved a $10,000 expenditure to work on a study for this, and we stopped it because the election was coming up and the town board was not in the loop and not on board with that. So it's very important, again, that we communicate very well from this committee. A lot of people are going to ask you a lot of things. If you're able to, if it's a private conversation, keep it as private as you can. As you know, on the committee here, everything is taped, so the community will know. So if it's a real estate deal that somebody should not know about it, don't say it until it's released to be said. So that's about all. I'm kind of long-winded. I'm sorry about that, folks. But just to kind of bring you up to speed, I didn't really know what we were going to do tonight other than have an introduction and try to get this launched off the ground again. But Brian, if you would please, if you want to give us a little insight on what you're doing with our committee to the town council, and Mr. Blazek is a councilman, and Mr. Swets is the president of our town council there. So.
I suppose, excuse me, you pretty well covered. The Shops on 96 is moving forward. The lights have been put in. We just in fact had a meeting today, so things are going to start moving forward. Probably after the 1st of March, you've got to figure the winter break. They've got to wait till the weather kind of breaks until we can pour concrete and start laying down asphalt. So Mr. Boyer's real anxious to get going. We're working in that direction. The new town manager is at the meeting with us today, so he's already strapped on his harness and he's ready to go. You mentioned Culver's, they're moving in Target's front lot. We've got a lot of things that we're working on, but, you know, we don't have really results. We don't have the answers yet, so we're just kind of quietly, you know, sitting and waiting for things to develop and/or things to occur. Jerry, you got anything?
I personally would like to thank all of you for offering to serve on this committee. I know it's kind of vague what your responsibilities are, what your task is, but I want you to know how important your committee is. You mentioned the fact that everything's public because it's being taped. You guys can wave if you want because you are being live streamed. Everything that we do here is transparent and in the open. We hired a town manager, and he'll be introduced this evening, that's our plan anyway, who has a tremendous background in development and redevelopment. Because we have a 231 109th corridor. We've got a 41 corridor that is just waiting to be developed, and we can only do it right once. We got to get it right the first time, and so it's important for you guys to know that that's going to be one of the things that you're tasked with. As business consultants, which is what this board is, you'll be working with the town manager and the town council to give us some ideas on what you think is going to serve the town well, and let us know if there's something that we're doing that you don't necessarily agree with. Because I'm a firm believer in order to make wise decisions, you have to surround yourself with wise people, experienced people, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys, this board, and our new town manager as well. So once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, well, we went over some of the new things that are happening here, and when the new town manager does come on board here tonight, going forward, he'll be at this meeting, and then they usually give us a report that we can respond to, and it's usually pretty informative, so everybody on this committee is always in the loop. If you have a question, these guys, their phone numbers are I mean, you can get a hold of them. It's not like they're absentee. These guys are available. So, and they react very well. So I'm very pleased with our new town board. At this point, I'd like to go over any reports from, or correspondence from any of the members, and anything that you may have coming up. I do have a small report to give, but any comments either that you may have? So, things you want to work on? So,
Well, it's not so much a report as it is kind of a series of questions. You're
Sure.
right, it was a little vague, that's fine.
Yep.
You know, we're getting started as a new committee. But I did review the last couple years of our minutes and listened to a few, but read what was posted. And just wondering what would be the appropriate time for us to, you know, sit down as a group and address those so that we could take that list, review it, see what's either been scratched off permanently or what we can still continue to talk about so that we can present it to the council for consideration.
you know, I think a lot of that we should probably do in committee work with Brian, because he is our liaison for that. And Carl, if you want to develop that list, and are you going to be here next month for a meeting, hopefully? So why don't we get that list made up, and anybody else that has concern, and let's share that with Brian, and then we'll tackle them one at a time so everybody can get in the loop on things.
Right, so,
Basically, when you give me anything, or anybody on the council anything, if you'd be kind enough to copy Margaret on it, because she's
Yep.
our go-to lady for practically everything.
Yep.
She's pretty capable.
fine, so, yeah, I'll create, it's kind of scrawly right now, so
We'll do that for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll circulate that.
That'd be great.
That's when we'll have the discussions, is
Yeah.
Great. No ad hoc, like subcommittee work or, executive session work outside?
Well, for the most part, we discuss it here.
All right?
And then, if there's sensitive real estate deals or development that possibly shouldn't be out yet, that has to be gone over with town council members in private. So confidentiality is a big thing with us here, and our fiduciary duties are very important, so.
Yeah, John, I think,
Sure.
also, I think in the past, you've had some subcommittees to work on, like some of the website, some other features and things like that. So there will be some subcommittee work on some of the projects, because we don't want to necessarily do all the work here at a committee meeting, as far as doing the work, making the decisions, the directions, feedback, yes, but as far as actually doing some of the work, we'll try to do that in some subcommittees as well.
Great.
Thanks, Carl, thank you. Anybody else with a comment? or-
Question?
Yeah, sure, questions,
You
absolutely.
had mentioned the culvers. Do we know when that's coming?
They're talking about breaking ground when the frost lifts, which we haven't had any frost to speak of. We're looking at the 1st of March probably, or, soon after.
And the other question I had was, I had heard a while back that there was talk of a Dunkin' Donuts coming in on Calumet Avenue, and then there was nothing. Anything on that?
Now, I can only tell you what rumor has, and I've heard this several months ago, but we all know how rumor mills
Yeah.
work. I understood they pulled the pin on that because they lacked the traffic flow that they needed
Okay.
in order to bring the business to town.
Okay.
So I talked to people who were involved in that deal, and they said Dunkin' Donuts walked away. So that's basically where that stands to my knowledge.
That's it.
That is correct.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Yeah,
I just,
sure.
I think we should revise our flyers,
Yep.
just to have the most up-to-date and current information on them. If not reprint them, then maybe just edit them a little bit.
Yep.
Or have them edited so that we could use them and that they
Yeah.
have the accurate information.
The issue is why we got about 10,000 of these guys. Maybe a sticker?
Yeah, we
Yeah, I mean,
say,
that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
We
they
can put
they
a
have
sticker.
devices where we
Yeah,
can-
if you get an opportunity to hand these out, and we're very, we watch our pennies very good here, so, but if you get an opportunity to do that, we should probably have something that we can get proper phone numbers and information on, so maybe if we can, and find out from the town council, if we could spend a little bit of money to maybe get a sticker with the proper phone numbers on it.
It's like a mailing label where
Yeah.
laser printed would cover up most of that.
Yeah,
Just so you know, the email address that's on the back of here
yep.
comes to my email.
Oh, okay, good.
I do have stickers in the office, and I could print some stickers that we could cover up this and put the appropriate town
We got a new
manager's
town
name.
manager, which is important to have on there. so-
Correct. So it won't look as pretty as a fresh print, but we can,
Can you do something on that, Margaret?
Yes.
And very nominal expense? And
yes, I can. And I do
charge-
have supplies in the
Charge it to the town
office.
council expense, not the Economic Development Committee. Thank you very much.
We'll cover you, John.
Any other comments here by anyone? I do have, I was fortunate enough to meet with a client that would like to bring a restaurant to town in a new development here that's gonna happen in about a year, just north of the Shrine. So they were very excited to meet with the developer. So that what I was able to do is just have an introduction and then tell them on behalf of what the town was interested in helping and to try to facilitate this business to come to town, because I think if they could get it all off the ground and working, we could have another real nice restaurant coming to town. But, you know, time kind of dictates a lot of things, and if it too much drags on, clients go other places. So But anyway, I was fortunate enough to have a nice meeting with a client and a developer in town here, so. And town council is very much aware of who those people are, so. That's the type of thing in each one of our businesses, or just residents coming into your business, or you see them in town, they're gonna know that you're on this committee, and they're gonna share a lot of things with you, so please pass it along so we can try to fill up, we got a lot of retail space that we can fill up in town here, so.
I think too, John, you see people on social media talking about, they call different businesses. They, say, why don't you come to town? And I think that when you have your ears peeled, so when you're out in public and you're in gatherings with friends or family or even shopping or whatever, and you overhear conversations, I think that it's important that if you hear something of that nature, that maybe, if you can kind of get your antenna up and try and hear what's being said or who they're talking about, so that if there's a possibility for any follow-up, that we could follow up with them. As far as, people say they want this, Chick-fil-A and this and Red Robin and all this other stuff. They want them all to come to town. Well, you don't know if a resident calls and, goes and talks to Chick-fil-A or talks to some of the high-end grocery stores like Trader Vic's or Mariana's. You don't know what's being said on those phone calls, and if you overhear a conversation, you may just catch wind of something. And if you get a name or a company, and they're saying, well, they were saying that they're thinking about 3 to 5 years. That's something that we would be interested in, that the committee should be interested in, so that we could follow up with it and maybe call whoever was involved in the conversation with the company and try and find out what they're thinking. Because the more we can nurture the business with them, if they're most corporations that I've worked for, we ran 3, 5, and 10 years out. And therefore, maybe Mariano's or Trader Joe's aren't planning on coming to Indiana for 5 to 10 years. But 10 years out is not a long time when you're building towns like we are. So I think that, just keeping your ear to the ground.
Well, you're absolutely right. I just did one little experience I had in my store, is I was able to meet a vice president of land acquisition for the Darden Group, which owns Olive Gardens and those types of chain restaurants. And I was able to make an introduction to with those folks to the Boyer Group. Now, then once it goes there, it's out of our hands because we don't know what leases are and things like that. So all we can do is just try to facilitate that type of thing. So we try to do that. We're excited about having these opportunities in our town. And the big question that we always hear on this committee is what's going on with the old Kmart? That is something that has been said to the new town council also. And the people that own that are an investment company out of New Jersey, and we've had those folks out here. And they have enough wherewithal to keep that place vacant. But now, in my opinion, how important the shops on 96th Street are, is one thing leads to another, and that's going to breed other great opportunities. We're going to have a stop-and-go light there, and then all of a sudden, they're going to be able to develop those outlots of the Kmart and then maybe do something with that building. So we're encouraged by those types of things that are happening. It's too bad to say it, just nothing happens as quickly as the residents want them. But the town council is working on that on a daily basis, so the residents should know that. And it's not like, well, that's empty, it's an eyesore. That's not the case. A lot of times when you have investment companies that have big parcels of ground, they're going to wait until things around it develop, or the market comes up, and which you guys all know that. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at on that. So.
And they're not currently interested in selling, ever. Long-term lease, right? That's what
Long-term
they're-
lease, and there's people that have wanted to purchase the ground. The footprint there for another shopping center is too small. It's 53,000 square feet at the Kmart, and, you know, big shopping centers are 150,000 footprint. So that's the difference on, you know, in the day it was great, but it doesn't work now, so. And I don't know, maybe you guys have heard something other than what I know on that project, but they are required to plow it and cut the grass and maintain the building as best they can.
Seal the cracks.
It's up to the Newtown board.
No, that was a
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
not a statement.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
all right.
not an imperative.
Yeah, okay. All right. But,
I know they have towing,
yep.
Yeah, all right.
very expensive towing.
So that's really all I've had for tonight, so I don't know if anybody else has any other comments. There's nobody here for any public comments, so any last comments from the new board members? And what I would like to say is welcome and thank you for your confidence in myself and Kelly on this board. We learn something new every time we come, and we don't know it all. We're glad that the town council got some sharp minds up here, and we're encouraged about this new opportunity for the town, so.
Let me
So-
interject something.
Uh-oh.
You probably are all aware already, but if you're not, the council, we've become as transparent as possible. There's no way we can become any more transparent. We're trying to be open to the public. We come down after the council meetings. After we come off the dais, we come down here and talk to the people. That's as far as we can go. It's up to the people to come to us with their ideas, their suggestions, things they may be thinking about. We're always open for, you know, for suggestions. Same thing with you people. You ought to be open to people talking to you about what they think and what they feel about our town. And you're welcome to bring it to us. We can't learn what the residents want or what you all want unless you come to us and tell us about it. And believe me, we can't go any farther than we have already, opening the doors to say, you know, come on in and make this our town.
Any other comments? I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Aye.
A second.
Yep. So adjourned.